Hi, welcome back to Pleased to Dwell. We're on day 3 of our walk through the book, Pleased to Dwell, which of course you're very welcome to get a copy of and read through. But even without the book, we're just tracing the line of thought, really. And we're in the first section, which is the Old Testament anticipation of the incarnation. We've thought about the person of promise, God's promise to send a deliverer to rescue his people and to defeat the enemy and to deal with the sin problem. We've thought about the presence of the promiser, that it's not just the content of the promise that we have to trust, but we're invited to trust in the person who is making the promise. And for quite a number of key characters in the Old Testament, they met with God face to face. Okay, so there is that confidence that comes from knowing the character, from having interacted with the one who is making the great promise. And as we think about this coming anointed Christ, as we would call him, the Messiah that's coming, what is he anointed to be? Well, sometimes we use this triple label of prophet, priest, and king. These were 3 types of people who were anointed in the Old Testament. That is, they had the oil put on their heads and it represented the Spirit of God coming upon them. And so prophet, priest, and king, for the next 3 days, let's think about the anticipation of those 3 offices of the Messiah. First of all, the prophet. Where do we find that? Here's a quote from the book. Would there ever be another prophet like Moses, a man who knew the Lord face to face and could represent him to the people? The last verses of Deuteronomy suggest not, at least not at the time those verses were written. However, back in Deuteronomy 18, we have another critical prediction in the line of the promised seed. So as the promise is getting developed through the Old Testament, we mustn't miss Deuteronomy 18, where we see these 2 verses in this section. The Lord your God, this is Moses speaking, the Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet like me from among your own brothers. You must listen to him. And then he says, I will raise up for them a prophet like you from among their brothers. I will put my words in his mouth and he will tell them everything I command him. Look at that for a description and an anticipation of Jesus. How is Jesus a prophet like Moses? And of course, in the Gospels, they are sometimes referred to him as being the one that Moses anticipated, the prophet. Well, he's like Moses from among your own brothers. He's an Israelite. He should be listened to. The words that he speaks, this is huge, isn't it? The words that Jesus is going to speak are the words of God the Father. My words are going to be in his mouth. He will tell them everything I command him. How often does Jesus say in the Gospels, I don't speak on my own, but only what I've heard the Father say or what the Father has given me to say? It's exactly this. Jesus is the prophet. And so back to the book in Deuteronomy verses 15 to 22, Moses tells the nation that one day God will raise up a prophet like him. This coming prophet will be Jewish. Right, we've said that. And he will be fully authorized to declare God's word with absolute authority. Now, for a prophet to be truly like Moses, he would need to perform wonders, which of course Jesus does, be able to give God's law, which he does, pray for his people, which he does, and deliver them too, which he does. Jesus really is the prophet, like Moses, better than Moses. And so the coming Messiah, anointed as prophet, one who represents God to us, who can speak on God's behalf to us. What an incredible gift Jesus is. Join us next time as we go on through these 3 offices and we go from prophet to priest and see the anticipation of that in the Old Testament. Thanks for watching.